What's going on, y'all? Tonight, I want to talk about women who force children on men. Now, I'm not talking about the men that are in relationships with a woman or the men who get a woman pregnant and they want a child and then they run away from the responsibility. I'm talking about the women who plot, deceive, set up a man and then have the nerve to call a man a deadbeat. Let's be real, man, that's straight bullshit. Straight bullshit. It's selfish and ultimately the child suffers. Now I know a lot of women probably will have an attitude or just an overall problem with this video, but I don't care. Not enough men have support because just because a child is born doesn't make that man a bad dad. So, I'll give you an example. Say you meet a woman and you're attracted to her, obviously, but you're not really feeling her like she's feeling you. You do your thing, end up pregnant, and you tell her, I'm not really trying to have kids. She wants it anyway. What are you to do? It's nothing you can do, right? But the thing that I find funny is that the true colors come out as soon as she's pregnant. Threats, child support, all types of drama. And then you get called the deadbeat. Is that really fair? Is it realistic? You see, yes, both parties can take the blame for having unprotected sex, yes. But after that, the man has no say-so. He can't make you. I don't want to say the word, but he can't make the child disappear. That's a choice all up to the woman. And I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to do, but if you plan on having a child and you don't even have a plan, your plan is to get on welfare, put him on child support. You may think that you're getting the guy back. You may think you're hurting him. And yeah, it may hurt his pockets ultimately. But the thing that I find funny is in all these cases, you rarely hear about the child. The child is the one who ultimately suffers. These women, these specific women, I know there's a lot of different situations that happen, but these specific women I'm speaking on, they are the true homewreckers. If you know a man doesn't want you, and if he doesn't want you, you know for sure he's not going to want a child. And yes, the man can be put on child support, pay his child support, do whatever needs to be done. But a lot of times, it's really hard for that man to connect to that child. You know what I mean? Paying child support, that doesn't really help a child grow up. It's just an excuse for a woman like that to get a paycheck. And there's no consequences for that. But again, going back to the child, they suffer ultimately because that woman has chosen to raise that child in a broken home. That child's rate for success is greatly diminished. And all that selfishness is making the child suffer ultimately. And I just feel a lot of men get the bad raps. I personally know men who pay child support. Very responsible men. but the women give them a very hard time. It's men that actually want to be in their child's life, and they won't let them. So to hear women talk about how many bad men are out there, how many deadbeats are out there, let's talk about deadbeat moms. Nobody talks about them. Nobody talks about the ones that take every benefit they can. Child looking raggedy, yelling at the child, taking all your frustrations out on the child when you're mad at the guy because he didn't want you when he told you he didn't want you. I've never seen any man give birth. So to say all these fatherless children, all these men making these children and leaving, I never seen a man give birth to a child. It's time for you specific ladies to take accountability. Stop having children with men that don't want you. The child suffers. That child is going to have abandonment issues. He's going to probably grow up angry because you're pumping all this negativity in his head, telling him how bad the dad was, how the dad doesn't care, and all these things. When you know the truth, you put that child in that situation. You use that child as a pawn. But you know what? The truth comes out. When that child grows up, and that child may want to know for himself, the truth will come out. And all that resentment that he may have had, or she may have had towards her dad, is going to come straight to you. Because see, I understand things happen, but there are a lot of things that can be done to prevent a child growing up in poverty. Because most women that think like that, the ones that have the government as the daddy, because see, that's what you do. You substitute the man for the government. That's the child's real dad. You go get these benefits, and it's just for you, and it makes you lazy. You get this subsidized housing, you get welfare, you get child support. I mean, the government gives you incentives to not do anything and to feel entitled to everything. But the man always gets the blame. The women get no blame for anything. You know, I mean, let's be honest. There's not even men's shelters to help a man in need. Because a lot of times these men that are picked to be these dads, when the woman knew that the guy wasn't a good candidate for a father, these guys don't have nothing going on either anyway. They can't go to a shelter once that child care, all those other bills, child support is taken out of the check. A lot of these men become homeless and they have nowhere to go. There are women's shelters, outreach programs, and all types of things. But for men, get slapped. Men are forced to deal with accountability. And it's cool because it's a man's job to be a man. But the problem is when you incentivize bad behavior in women, and it just gets passed down to the children, and the children suffer, and the children grow up unbalanced, anger issues, all these things, all because you're resentful towards a man that you wish wanted you. Stop giving birth to children you can't take care of. It's very selfish to have a child and your backup plan is child support. And I can talk about it. I grew up in a single parent home, you know, and my mom put my dad on child support. And my dad, he didn't pay none of it. He stopped working and all these things. And the thing about it is my mom used to tell me all these bad things about my dad and then say, "You just like him." So she was pumping poison into my head growing up. So I kind of resented my dad and didn't even realize it. But she was angry. Now, I don't know what their situation is, but as I got older, I started just thinking as an adult, I don't know what their situation was. I don't know, my mom, from my experience with my mom is a lot to deal with. And sometimes it's just better to walk away. And I'm not justifying my dad, not being responsible, but as a grown man, I get it. Sometimes the situation's just, it may be worse sticking around. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's these women that are having these children with no plan. Now I take my hat off to the real single mothers that aren't putting the guy on child support. They're out there busting their butt to get it done. I'm not saying that is right, but that's what you call a single mother. I don't know if I can call someone who gets benefits and things like that a single mother, because you're not doing it by yourself. And I'm not knocking you if you get it, but I'm just saying the discussion is about women not being accountable for these children that they create with ill intent. And then let's be real. A lot of women that make these decisions, they say things like, I'm against abortion. But the funny thing is, if you're against abortion, why are you having unprotected sex? Yes, the man had it too. But again, I don't know any man walking this earth that, if given the option to keep or to get rid of an unborn child, is going to say, I want a child that they don't want. It's ultimately the woman's decision. And it is just crazy. I mean, it is what it is, but it's just crazy to me to know that when a man has no say-so, he still has to be responsible for an immature decision. You know what I mean? Like, if you're against abortions, why are you having unprotected sex? Why are you even having premarital sex? That should be something that you're doing with your husband. So I just hate how people try to twist God's words and want to bring in religion when it benefits them. All these fatherless children are born because of mothers that didn't make the right decisions. And yes, it is a man's job to be responsible for his children. But I'm just speaking on the fact that there wouldn't be so many fatherless children if some women didn't make selfish decisions because they were thinking about their feelings, not considering what the child may go through, not thinking about the anxieties that are going to be created in that child. So if the women don't listen, I can't help. I'm just going to speak the truth. But any men that are listening, don't run in that shit raw, man. Wrap that shit up. But ultimately, if she seemed a little off, don't hit. Just go handle your own business. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Stay away from toxicity. It's just not worth it. Now, to all the single mothers that are out there getting it done, I salute you, because my intent is never to bash, but my intent is to be a voice for the voiceless. And it's a lot of good men that get a bad rap, just like women. But again, you guys have the support. You guys have the government on your side. Men, we have nobody. If a man fails, he fails. There's no system or center waiting to help him get back up on his feet. He has to figure it out. And most men are okay with that. But I just don't understand why a woman would come and intentionally bring a child into this world that they know they cannot support. And then a man has to deal with the choice that she made when he had no say-so. So I hope that someone can get something from what I spoke on tonight. And if not, I'm gonna say what I want to say anyway, because there's too many real men that don't say nothing. There's too many suckers out there representing men, pandering to these crazy type women. because those are the only ones doing it. If you ask me, most women on this planet are good, and most men on this planet are good. But unfortunately, that percentage of the not so good folks, they represent all of us. So until next time, dudes, strap it up. Women,